The Green Ops podcast is brought to you by F3 Tactical, Spotter Up, Sons of Liberty Gunworks, and Blue Force Gear.
I fiddled around with poetry and things when I was young. A lot of 16, 17-year-olds do that, the romantic or whatever it may be. And then you give it up. You say, this is terrible. My writing was really quite terrible. I don't think I really picked up writing until I was probably in my late 40s, early 50, maybe 50, 51. So I'm 55 now. I think it was Alice B. Tolkien said something like writers write and painters paint, something like that. You stick with what you know. Basically, they stick you in a prison and they take away everything. There's that Clint Eastwood movie, Alcatraz, where the guy cuts off his hand because they take away his paintbrush. The warden takes away his paintbrush, and that's all he knew. And so you have to be able to say, I've got to do this. This is my passion, whatever it may be. I don't care if it's writing or shooting or running. You have a passion, you live for it, and don't do it halfway, right? You're talking about Jack London, right? I'd rather be ashes than dust. It's just really this idea of doing as much as you can. And so I think Hemingway said that too. If you're going to write, lock yourself in a room, no windows, no door, no windows, it's just a door, and you write, and you just give yourself 20 minutes a day. So how do you write? You write down your thoughts. And when I started writing, I had no idea if my writing was good or bad. No idea, because I have no reference point. There's no way to compare and contrast it with anyone else. I don't have this massive ego that says I'm a genius. I just wrote. I did it because I needed an Instagram page to promote Spotter Up. And I started writing my thoughts on everything from pop culture to history to, romance to shooting or whatever it may be. And people said, this is good. You should write a book. So what I did was I took about 4 years worth of Instagram posts and put it into a book called We Fight Monsters. And it was really just my thoughts. That was also simultaneously tied in with my relationship with my wife, who was going to exit. And she said, if I do not get help for our marriage, she's out the door. So that in turn ended up, bringing me the opportunity to write. I started writing seriously. She said, I'm going to write it, good or bad. I don't care. It's the thing that's going to save me. And I've said that before, write, whether it's good or bad, write. It can be the thing that will save you from yourself.
Mm-hmm. So that kind of reminds me, I think there's Jordan Peterson has kind of said the same thing. Like, you have to learn to write your thoughts out on paper. So that way you can kind of understand what you're actually thinking better. Sometimes you write something that you have a thought, you write it down, and then all of a sudden it makes more sense after you've seen your thought put down on paper.
Absolutely true. I mean, if you actually have a conversation with me, I'm all over the place, man. I'm just kind of scattered, but when I write, it's very pointed, very structured. So I would agree with that. And I think it was the same thing with T.S. Eliot, the famous writer and poet who said, really, there's something great about writing, and not just about writing, but going from pen to typewriter. And now we have, the advantage of tech. You can write as fast as you want and as much as you want, and you can save it and you don't lose it, and you can edit, and there's so much you can do with writing. So there are a lot of tools out for people, but I tell them all the time. People say, what do I do? It's just write. And here's the thing, writing is a skill. So you get better as you go along. How? Because you begin to see where you were, and you find a finishing point from A to Z. And then you begin to see progression. You begin to realize how to write syntactically, how to write, your spelling, your punctuation, those kinds of things. You get better. I'm terrible because I don't really edit. I don't have an editor, and I just write. I actually don't edit much. I write stream of consciousness. So whatever you see on Instagram is me. That's me going from the kitchen to the trash can, taking out the trash, and I bang out something on my notes and then post up a meme. It's that fast. Why do I do it that way? Because it's authentic. If I edit too much, to me, it becomes artificial, and I don't like that. Now, for someone else, they may, but I don't like to write that way. It's boom, bang it out, and it's done forever. It's out in the universe.
So, complete episode available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcasting app. New Green Ops podcast episodes available every Thursday. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss any of the new content.